was a 570. That was a 570S. Oh, nice. Where was I? Always get distracted. What's up, guys? Welcome to SuperCars of London, and today is a day that I've been looking forward to for quite some time. I am down in Surrey in this pretty incredible golf club resort thing, and anyway, today I've been invited down by McLaren Ascot and McLaren London to test drive some of the Sports Series range. One of them is coming right now. This is ruining my intro. That was a McLaren 570 GT. They've got the 570S and they've got the 540C. I haven't seen a single video on the 540C, so I wanted to put my name down and drive that car, experience it, try and work out the differences between the 570S, which I've already test driven, and I'm going to be driving the brand new 570 GT. So before I go out in test drive number one, I'm going to try and summarize my experiences with McLaren in approximately 1 minute. So first of all, 570S. I was blown away by that car. I thought that the power and the price point was ridiculous, and it is arguably voted one of the best entry-level supercars that you can buy. I'm going to test that against the 540C, and then I drove the 570S back-to-back with the 650S. I literally didn't know how there could have been a difference between the two cars, but it is absolutely night and day. The 650S is definitely more of the Super Series, and the 570S is the Sports Series. I still don't understand how McLaren can class these cars as sports cars. They are out-and-out supercars, but the 570 GT is apparently a lot more luxurious and more of a GT cruiser car. So I'm going to be putting all of those theories to the test in this video today. So here we go, 540C, my first experience with the 540C, and I'm being joined by Tom, who is going to show me the ropes in this car, but you were also saying that it's not as familiar as some of the other cars.
Yeah, we tend to use the higher powered cars on the track. The 570S is obviously a new kid on the block, so that's getting a lot of traction at the moment.
Yeah. And this car is kind of like, it's not forgotten about because they are still highly popular, but people tend to hide the fact that it's the 540C over the 570 GT. Like, even this one's debadged.
Yes, exactly. You know, on the bottom sills, where you've got the telltale what spec car, if you can't tell from the shape, this doesn't even have it. You know, so it's, I don't know, it's gone down the line of being more understated.
Yeah, it is.
It's a baby 570, and it's gone for the understated effect, you know. And
it's like 30 brake horsepower less.
Yeah, so it's not, you know, it's not a big deal. Yeah, it's not gonna, you're not going to be bored, put it that way.
It's like a 3.8 litre V8, right?
Yeah.
Yeah. And because, now this is going to be a question that I don't know if you can answer, but because it's a 3.8, and I know that some components will be slightly different in the P1 and things like this, but surely this is quite an easily tunable engine.
Yes.
So you could just...
There's plenty of capacity.
Yeah, that's what I was
thinking. Yeah, I mean, there's loads that can be done, and a lot on the software as well.
Yeah, because
mapping.
Nissan GTR is one of the first sort of like proper turbocharged supercar killers sort of thing, because you could just tune them up to like no, I'm saying you could
I mean, you could quite reliably tune those things to like 800-900 horsepower.
Yeah, it's mental.
Yeah, there's a lot of capacity for it. Yeah. I mean, arguably, it's
nuts.
It's still so fast. I mean, you probably really can't notice the difference.
No,
I mean, arguably it is a little bit less punchy.
Yeah.
But it's difficult to judge, isn't it? Without data, without having it plugged into a laptop or something.
So
just from your human senses, it's not clear cut.
Yeah. It's mental, absolutely mental that this is the entry level supercar, one of the most accessible supercars. I know McLaren says it's a Sports Series, but I mean,
it's still supercars.
Yeah. And I remember driving the 570S and randomly, luckily, stumbling across a Ferrari Enzo, and I posted a picture of the two cars, and everyone was like, oh, it's much faster than the Enzo. And I was like, no, it's not. I googled it and it was. Like, the Ferrari Enzo, like pinnacle Ferrari back in 04, 05. And now, the sort of entry-level McLaren that you can buy, it comes with 530 brake horsepower, 565 brake horsepower, there or thereabouts. there's slight differences in terms of the suspension setup and the power delivery, but having not driven the 570S, and an owner would never have both cars to be able to tell the difference. So
yeah,
it's a special car.
The real telltale would be on circuit, which you know, okay, some people do drag their cars, but not everyone will go left lane here. Yeah. I mean, that always brings home to light the differences, but for day to day,
on the drive that we've just done,
it
wouldn't have mattered really whether we were in the 570S or the 540C, which has got its pros and cons to both of the cars, because obviously people will be like, well, why would you buy the 570S? Because it's fundamentally a better spec car. Styling's much better. Definitely. But then the 540C obviously is no slouch, and people that do buy the 540C definitely haven't just gone and bought the cheaper one because they can't afford the 570S, which is what maybe some people might assume.
It's worked out quite well actually.
Yeah. Whoa. Yep. Yeah, so verdict 540C is fast. Yeah, definitely. I mean, if you didn't look down, if you look at the speed you get to in that time, it's definitely 70 miles an hour. That's exactly what I hit. Maybe 71 to 71. First drive done. We had a bit of an issue with memory cards. However, that was my first experience with the 540C, and I have to say it was a lot better than I was expecting. I think that my perception of this car, being the slightly cheaper and underpowered version of the 570S, immediately I was just thinking it just wasn't going to be as good or as enjoyable. However, I was totally wrong. This car is absolutely incredible. I thoroughly loved it, and I'm going to be telling everyone that is interested to know what my verdict is like on the 540C that it was a very, very, very good experience, and it's stupidly quick. But I just think that because of everything that you read on Google and through other outlets, that everyone focuses on the 570S or the 570 GT, and everyone forgets about the 540C, which is exactly why I wanted to film it today and drive it and experience it. Have to say, absolutely loved it. Well, my massive bag fits quite perfectly. Loads of bags. I generally think you can fit a suitcase in there. Anyway, this is the 570 GT, and this car is what I'm about to drive right now. Tom is already in the car, and I'm going to get the Ulfi camera set up, which is in my bag. That would have been a fail. And then we're going to get on the road, and I'm going to be experiencing for the first time the 570 GT in purple. So now it is a time for a blast in the 570 GT. The one thing that I see is extended carbon fibre paddles, bigger paddles. And this is the more refined, slightly more chilled out version of the 570S.
Yeah, and I'm glad you used the word slightly there, because it's, again, it's easy for people to think it's been dulled down too much, but it's not the case, you know. Yeah. Certainly from the outside, the profile of the car looks impressive. Yeah, and you've got the glass
stunning car
roof, panoramic roof, which is which I think is pretty neat.
Yeah,
give it a blast, and you'll feel it's got a bit more poke than the 540 had.
Yeah. So smooth though, and the steering feels like it's massaging your hands. Like it's just. I don't really know how to describe this. The first thing that I've just noticed is the steering. And the steering just feels
like, compared to the 540?
Like, yeah, it just feels. Wow. Oh yeah.
So it's got a bit more bite, a bit more kind of urgency to it.
Yeah, and it sucked my stomach.
Yeah, it made my stomach go as well. Yeah. Bit noisier.
Bit noisier.
Bit punchier.
Oh, they didn't even get to pull out behind that car. It's a roundabout This is going to be so annoying because that van's going to... Oh no, the van didn't turn up. Okay, good. Here they come. Right, this is a cool road. Let's see what the 570 GT is capable of as a supercar.
Now we've back to back here.
There is a difference in the way that you are put into a new light year. This is an incredible car. What McLaren are able to do out of the 3.8 litre. I've never driven a LT, but the 650S, like the difference between a 570S and a 650S is nuts. And like it was just like when those turbos just kick in on the 650S, it's like the entire world is exploding and you just like... Okay, now, so 570 GT, verdict after having driven the 540C, this car is noticeably faster and I like the steering and it's just a little bit more chilled out. We have been driving most of the time in sport, but I don't know, just...
We did a section of it, we did a quite early section of it, didn't we?
Yeah.
Automatic and in normal mode, and it was 7th gear, auto, cruising.
Yeah. Super quiet.
Yeah, it was near electric car levels of noise, wasn't it?
No, wait.
Roll it, tap it down. It's interesting how that restarts the car.
It's just lowering. Yes!
Got it swiftly last time.
I know, I don't know what happened. 570G. I prefer the 540C because I can use it better. But it's more important on this car because it's got the carbon splitter.
Yes, yeah. I don't want to leave a carbon splitter on the side of the road.
Well, I signed the paper to say that I'd pay for any damage as well.
That's true.
So I was not going to tackle that speed bump without it.
Yeah.
Okay, I've literally just jumped out of this car. First of all, I found out that this colour is cobalt violet. I've found out that is the colour. It is really, really beautiful. When the sun's not on it, it's quite black, but then when the sun is on it, it like comes out this really, really nice colour. It's quite similar to my t-shirt. I don't really want to bring the t-shirt into it. However, drove the 540C first. Absolutely fell in love with that car. I thought that the way that car handled and the way that it delivered the power and as an experience, it was awesome. Trying to remember what it was like to drive the 570S, I kind of felt that car was sort of on par or not noticeably different in terms of the power. However, since driving this car, I've now realised that I was totally wrong. There is a difference, as you would expect, because it's 30 grand, but by no means is that a rubbish version of any of these cars. So as McLaren Sports Series goes, now that I've driven all of them, which one would I have? I think I'd have the 570 GT because you do get the best of both worlds. You get a lot more leather inside, you get a lot more space, you get the panoramic roof at the back, and it just feels a lot nicer to drive the steering. As David said from Ascot McLaren, it's a lot more fluid. It was the word that I was looking for. The steering is fluid, and I absolutely fell in love with it. I could turn that wheel all day long. So in terms of drives, that is it. A huge thank you to McLaren Ascot and McLaren London for inviting me down. I am going to be getting behind the wheel of that properly. That was only a short half-an-hour drive. I'm going to be going over to the Cotswolds with McLaren over the next 2 weeks or so. So yes, it is going to be an exciting time to get behind the wheel of the 570 and go on a proper route, take it on some real driving roads. But as a teaser and as a tester goes, it was a very good day. And hopefully you've enjoyed this video. Please give it a like if you've enjoyed the McLaren Sports Series and subscribe if you haven't already. Because yes, like I said, I'm going to be going somewhere pretty cool with the 570 GT